In this YouTube video, I'd like to talk about TikTok. My name is Tom Mullaney. This is First Gen Professor, where we discuss navigating academia. About 5 months ago or so, I decided to start making videos on TikTok.
One time, my parents came to see me give a lecture at Stanford, and I felt really proud that, their professor's son, they never went to college. They sat right in the front row, and then they fell asleep.
And I have to say that the outcome is totally not something I was expecting. Speaking as a scholar, as an academic, as a teacher, that TikTok is an amazing resource, an amazing community if you find the right viewers, let's say, for your channel, and one that actually can cycle into and help with one's own teaching and even writing and research. And that's what I would like to discuss in this video. Let me start with one pretty big, pretty obvious thing about TikTok as compared to many of these other channels, and that is engagement. So I made a video. I basically just said,
when I was an undergraduate, I never went to office hours. I assumed that unless I had a burning question or a brilliant idea, that I was wasting the professor's time. Then I became a professor and no one was coming to office hours, and I realized, maybe this is a systemic problem. Maybe other people have the same assumptions. So let me say, you do not need a good excuse to go to office hours. Your professor wants to meet you. Trust me.
That video on TikTok was viewed close to approaching 1 million times at this point. It might be 800,000, 700,000, 900,000. I haven't looked in a long while, but it went viral. Very simple topic, very simple issue, and yet something about it clearly resonated with a great number of student age viewers, but also a number of parents of college age and high school age kids who wrote to me in comments and direct messages saying, "Thank you for saying this and sending or making this video. I am going to send it to my son or daughter at college to encourage them," and so forth and so on. There's something baked into the audience, the culture of the app, maybe the algorithm of the app, that when people are drawn to something, they engage with it more actively, more aggressively than certainly anyone does on at least my Twitter channel, my Twitter feed, or on Facebook or elsewhere. This brings us to a second really important issue, which is that if you're a college professor or a grad student or a postdoc or a university researcher, this app, this community has a far larger audience that is of the same age, generation, and in many cases, the sort of set of concerns, set of worldviews, frames of reference as your students. Twitter is a much older audience. Facebook is an even older audience, probably. And so it is interesting to see how a particular idea or notion plays out with an audience that is actually more comparable to the students that I have in my classroom, but who I don't engage with, socially, and so I don't really know their cares about the world, their frames of reference, and so forth. And so it's extremely useful as an instructor, but also as someone who makes videos about navigating college, how to think through the process of becoming a scholar, how to make good choices within college and university. It's extremely useful to know that people are concerned about going to office hours. The third amazing thing about TikTok, which I did not, again, anticipate, are the other creators, and in particular, the other people with channels who come from academia. I have met just amazing, inspiring faculty, grad students, postdocs, people who I consider to be public intellectuals. They're not necessarily affiliated with universities, but they have backgrounds as researchers. And their channels are amazing. I'm going to include some of my favorites in this video and in the description. But again, the level of engagement, people commenting on each other's videos, like celebrating each other's achievements, stitching and sharing and duetting, that the way the app is built, but also because of the culture, I think, of the app, the kind of engagement that one has in this sense of community, it's a very strange thing to acknowledge on this app that started out as a dance and duet app and a lip sync app, but the kind of community feels far more intimate and friendly on than on Twitter, than on Facebook. Again, I don't know LinkedIn as well, and that was not something that I was imagining. A fourth benefit, which is related to other people's channels, is that there are some amazing teachers. I mean, a countless number of amazing teachers on this app who have no affiliation with K through 12 education or universities or college, but I truly consider them to be mentors at a distance. They don't even know that I consider them mentors. But let me tell you, it is extremely difficult to explain how to do something in 15 seconds or in 60 seconds, or to explain a concept in 15 seconds or 60 seconds, or to engage with a social or political or economic issue in such times. It is no joke. Twitter, in the brevity of the brevity of the character limit, especially when Twitter started, began not as a way of making people poetic or wise or pithy. It was it was a kind of gimmick about the brevity of these comments. But when you're talking about video, you're talking about audio and video and performing for your iPhone or for a camera, when you are trying to capture whatever it is that you're trying to say or explain in these short units of time, you have to make some really serious choices. You need to choose what to leave out, what to put in, what to prioritize, how to begin the discussion, the sequence, et cetera, et cetera. And what I found is I have slowly gained the ability to explain in 60 seconds what normally I would just sort of go on at great length on for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and so forth. And it's an education. And I see some channels, cooking channels, philosophy channels, exercise channels, that are able to explain things that, if you really stop and think about them, are profoundly complex or difficult, and but are delivered in this truly expert way. That's what I'm getting at here is, if you have ever dismissed YouTube tutorials or TikTok tutorials as just kind of, whatever, that's neat online stuff, think again. These videographers have put in great care and attention to the craft of doing tutorials. And I feel the same way about YouTube. A good 10-minute tutorial on YouTube for, I don't know, in my case, I'm really interested in graphic design tutorials or videography tutorials or cooking tutorials. It takes a lot of preparation, a lot of rehearsal, a lot of takes and a lot of pre-planning and a lot of editing to put together a tutorial that moves briskly but comprehensively through subject matter. Briskly because your audience is impatient, and they should be impatient with you, but brisk, but comprehensively, so that you don't get to the end of a tutorial and someone's like, wait a minute, you didn't tell me how to do this, and I'm looking at my computer screen and it's asking me about this, and you didn't anticipate that. And commenters for a poorly designed tutorial, either on YouTube or TikTok, are angry. Let me tell you, they get angry if you have wasted their time by leaving something out that you should have planned for. So this is to say, when I call these videographers and these YouTubers and TikTokers inspirations and teachers, I mean it. I have looked back on my own teaching, my own lectures, and asked myself, is this 3-minute segment that I just spoke about, did that really need 3 minutes? Sometimes it does, and sometimes something needs to breathe. But sometimes it's just because I haven't put the care or attention into delivering it efficiently and delivering it poetically and delivering in a crisp, comprehensive way. And so that's a major boon, I think, for me in creating my channel is having a chance to see what other people are doing with, I consider this craft, and then learning from them. A fifth thing which I have come to love are TikTok lives. This is basically live streaming, the TikTok version of that. I have slowly gotten into that, as many viewers know, in YouTube. But it's a little bit more involved in YouTube. There's a little bit more to do. In TikTok, you get out your phone, and instead of posting a video or recording a video to post it, you just press on the live button if you have a minimum, I think, of 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 followers. And then I've had lives that, over the course of 20 minutes or 30 minutes are attended by anywhere from 50 to 100 people coming in and out. Incredible amount of engagement, questions being asked, kind of repeat people. Like there are probably 10 people who show up almost every time that I go live, and they're grad students, they're undergrads at different places. I don't know who all of them are. I don't, many users on TikTok use an anonymous or pseudonyms for their handles, which is fine. But you can tell by the questions they're asking and the questions they continue to ask that, yeah, this person is probably, in their second year of a PhD program. Sometimes they tell you what institution. And the questions are great. And very importantly, and this ties back to one of the other points I made earlier in the video, is I get it straight from the person's mouth, what's on their mind. And so people ask me questions. I do my best live to offer, an initial sketch of an answer. But then afterwards, I go back to my office or to my home and I say, I'll make a video about that. Or I'm going to think about that because pretty soon I'm going to be sitting down with my own students in flesh and blood land. And these questions might very well be on their minds as well. And so let me think about it. So it's this endless source of inspiration for becoming a better mentor, making better videos here on YouTube, making better and more useful videos on TikTok. And it's again, a word that I did not expect to keep coming back to when I joined TikTok was community. And I did not expect that. Having said all this, there are dark sides to this app. I think it's pretty obvious. And I'm not talking about spending too much time on the app or flipping through. I mean, I think that that's true of any of our audiovisual media. I think you can spend too much time on Netflix. I think you can spend too much time watching TV. I think you can spend too much time with CNN on in the background because, every 30 minutes they repeat themselves. So that's there. But what I'm talking about are things like online harassment, trolls, the prevalence of small sub-communities of white supremacists, of racists, of hyper-nationalists. Mercifully, I have actually 2 channels on TikTok. One is dedicated to the same subject matter as this YouTube channel. It's called First Gen Professor. And so similar themes. The community there is amazing, like amazing. I have another channel that taps into my background as an historian of modern China. So it's all about modern China. I think it's called Modern Chinese History is the handle. And there, the community is split up into basically 3 pieces. Sort of xenophobic white supremacist racists, highly uneducated, hyper-nationalist trolls with some connection to China, whether Chinese nationals or otherwise, and then a thin bandwidth in the middle of people I would consider to be engaged, interested students of history. People who thank me for making the videos, who ask further questions, who give me suggestions for further videos, all the good stuff you want. And then these 2 communities basically clog up my comments feed, just eviscerating each other with just horrible, dumb commentary. And I'm not going to sort of tell you about the subject matter. You can imagine in your mind. Take a racist and a nationalist and throw them into a room with each other and then watch them, whatever. But it does get to you. I mean, you lose faith in humanity. You lose faith in the power of education, the meaning of education. Can people be reached? Can minds actually be transformed? Is anyone interested in nuanced thought whatsoever? And it can be really depressing to see that. But still, the reason that at the end of the day I keep that channel, and this ties to another good thing that I'll close this video with, the reason I keep that channel and basically just periodically block the trollest of the trolls on that channel is because I like to have, in essence, a daily writing regimen in which I, as an instructor of modern Chinese history, but also someone writing a textbook on modern Chinese history, that I need to sit down, think about a various episode in the timeline of modern Chinese history, and make a short video about it. Basically, it is a writing assignment that I have, self-imposed to do ideally every single weekday, maybe anywhere from 1 to 4 of these each and every day. And it's like, oh my gosh, why would you do that? Well, people tweet that much, people post on Facebook that much, they waste time in certain ways. I would rather waste time by producing something that then I can watch myself, transcribe, and I have actually produced verbiage for a textbook. Because again, the audience who's going to read my textbook is the exact same age group as the audience in my channel. At the same time, it is actually useful to have these absolutely nutso crazy racist and Chinese hyper-nationalists, because it gives me at least some sense of what the crazies in the world are how they're going to willfully misinterpret or try to attack the things that I write, even if they don't end up commenting on Amazon about it. I know that I'm getting a sense of how the darkness of these minds operate, and it's useful. It's a kind of ethnographic project to see into those dark chambers, 2 different kinds of dark chambers, but both of them as dark as the other, in my view. And so the good thing is that I need to write, and I need to prepare, and I need to think about what my students don't know about, are interested in about. Again, how to be concise, how to be crisp, what stories to pull from the archive, what stories to pull from my own reading that I might be able to deliver. And in the delivering of those stories, deliver some historiographic little nugget about debates in Chinese history or whatever it might be. That is an interesting conceptual puzzle. And I have to say, as self-structured as I am, as pretty good as I am at structuring my time and getting stuff done, I'm a pretty productive person, it's also really, really hard to motivate oneself all the time in this way. And so weeks can become months, months can become years, and suddenly you haven't written something for quite a long time. So yet another thing that, at least for me, is really nice about both my channels, the First Gen Professor and my Modern China channel, is that it keeps me writing. I just happen to be writing by speaking into a camera or an iPhone, and then later I transcribe it, edit it, think about it, and so forth. So this is just an impromptu video, really, to strangely, and I was not expecting this, sing the praises of TikTok specifically for those of you out there who are grad students, postdocs, faculty, in university administration, college administration. I am going to encourage you to sign up and put all the security things on your app. There are things about the app, like all apps these days, that are too aggressive about getting information about you. Turn all those things off, but get on the app, see what's going on in certain neighborhoods of this app, and ideally start making videos yourself. Start to see the videos that are being made by other scholars on this app, and you will be inspired. I guarantee you. They're funny, they're crisp, they're brilliantly crafted, and they are speaking directly to the generation who are your students right now. I will see you in the next video. If you got something out of this, please like, share, join the channel, comment, join a live. I don't know, but I would love to stay in touch with you, and thanks so much.